Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Let's Level Up. This is going to be our first ever unboxing video. Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm not a big fan of unboxing videos myself. I think they're kind of lame. However, look how big this box is. I mean, this thing is huge. Let me just give you a comparison. For those of you who've played Descent 2.0 or Mansions of Madness, they have the same box size. And I'm just going to put it up here next to it and just see. This thing's got probably about an inch deeper, and it covers just about the same size. So there's a lot of stuff within this Imperial Assault box, and I thought it'd be cool to kind of cover some of the components. I have yet to play this thing. I know it plays very similarly to Descent and Mansions of Madness, but it also includes a really neat miniatures kind of skirmish mode within the game setting, which I think is really cool. So I'm going to pop this box open. We're going to look at some of the components as I dive into it. So I've already taken the shrink off, but that's about it. So here goes. Okay, so off comes the box. Here we go. Okay, so we got standard Fantasy Flight Games calendar, catalog, already notifying us of expansion. So we've got figure packs coming. Now this base set includes the Luke Skywalker and the Darth Vader figure packs. However, it looks like they're going to be having Chewie, Han Solo, a general here, a new droid, the Royal Guard champion. So there's going to be a lot of really cool stuff coming in the future of this thing. So I imagine Imperial Assault is going to have a lot of additions throughout the year. So that's neat to see. And kind of sad at the same time, because I'm already basically looking towards spending more money. And I've already spent, you know, this is a $100 game. But okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4 rule books. Oh my goodness. So we got the skirmish guide that teaches how to play skirmish mode. We've got the learn to play, read this first book. We've got the actual rules reference guide, and finally the campaign guide. So again, there are 2 modes of play in this thing. There's the campaign, which you play a lot like Descent, and then there's the skirmish mode, which is essentially a Rebel versus Empire miniatures war game, which is actually really cool that they include that in there as well. Looks like we have some sticker references here. I'm not quite sure what these are for yet. Let's see if we can pull these guys out. Okay, here are all of our map pieces and tokens, or it looks like a lot of them rather. Okay, this looks like our Luke and Darth Vader miniatures pack, expansion packs. It wouldn't be a Fantasy Flight game without a ton of mini cards. There's those. We'll look into some of these components again in more detail after we pull everything out. We've got dice and stands and a couple little pegs, I'm assuming, to hold components together. We've got player reference cards. And this looks like more Empire stuff, maybe for campaign mode or something like that. So where are all the minis? Stored in here, I bet. Okay. Here's our AT-AT. Or goodness, is it AT-ST or AT-AT? I don't ever remember. Sorry guys, I'm not a huge Star Wars geek. And I know I'm probably losing a lot of cred right now. I think it's an AT-AT. And oh my goodness, look, more minis. Look how many minis are in this thing. Goodness gracious. Okay, let me clear some of this stuff out and we'll start looking at some of the components one by one. Okay, so here we have an almost fully assembled AT-ST. Sorry, I got my Star Wars vehicle knowledge wrong. The AT-AT is actually the big 4-legged one that walked around on Hoth. This is the AT-ST that tried to take on the adorable teddy bears of Endor. And you see him, I think, in other parts of the movie as well. But I'm having a little trouble actually getting this guy into place. It's supposed to fit in right here, but it is very tight, and I'm actually starting to chip away at this thing, and I don't want to damage it anymore. So if you guys know any cool tips on how to get this gun in place, it's supposed to fit in the middle there, and it's the last part. But it's not quite working as I'm intending. But so far, I am super impressed with the detail of this AT-ST. Really, really cool, awesome model. It's big, and it's just really neat. I can't wait to get this thing on the board and blow some stuff up with it. Okay, we have a lot of the minis set up right now. You can tell that there's two different colors right off the bat. And of course, these are on painted. But the lighter tan colored are going to be your heroic miniatures, and essentially when you're playing the campaign mode, each player or each hero rather will pick one of these heroes or more depending on how you're playing, and they have a certain kind of class and idea that they follow. So for instance, Gar Khan here, you'll grab his player card, which is the Wookiee Fierce Warrior, and you can see he's got this really awesome mini, man. I mean, anytime you see a Wookiee, they're going to be an imposing force, or I imagine them to be. This guy looks incredible, and he has a giant pole arm. It's kind of like a battle axe, like a Wookiee battle axe that he's going to be bringing to the table as well. So he's going to be, I'm assuming, a really big, heavy hitter. He's got a couple of abilities here on this side. He's got charge and rage. So I'm assuming, not really knowing how the mechanics of the game work, charge, he'd be doing more damage or a better chance to hit whenever he's moving and attacking with melee. And then rage, he'll do more damage as he takes damage. And again, I don't know if that's right or not, so please don't hold me to that. Let's check out some of these other ones. We have Diala Pasil. She is a haunted exile, and she looks like a Twi'lek here. So she's got a kind of awesome Jedi. She's got a lightsaber actually behind her, so that's cool. I mean, these look really fun to paint as well. So I may need to actually try to paint these. But really neat. We got Mach Eshkare, and he looks like almost like an elf or something like that, like an elven sniper or something, but he's got a cool mini too. He's a bold renegade. We have Jin Odan. She's a sly smuggler, so I'm guessing she's going to be like Little Han. Let's see, here she is right there. Very cool. Fen Cygnus, hardened veteran. Looks like he's going to be just a rebel soldier. And Gideon Argus, he is the valiant commander. He's the wizened, battle-hardened guy, leader type character. And then we have little Luke here. Now Luke doesn't actually have a player card, so I'm assuming that he's going to come up in the game, but maybe players can't directly control him within the campaign mode. Or if they can, they have a different type of resource to control what he can do during that game. Or maybe he just comes up in some of the campaign missions. I don't know. Again, no spoilers here on what's happening in the campaign. I'm just making assumptions, really. There are a ton of awesome miniatures here for the actual, Empire as well. So you take these little robed, I think these guys are Imperial guards or something like that. There's a ton of these guys. There's quite a few of these guys. There's at least 4 that I'm seeing right off just at a quick glance. So some of those guys. Of course, it wouldn't be the Empire without a ton of stormtroopers. Let me see if I can get a little closer here so you can get a better idea of what this guy's going to look like. Look at that. Just absolutely phenomenal detail on these stormtroopers. And there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 stormtroopers, which is really cool. You know, though, you can't have enough of these guys. These guys are just incredibly good looking, and you know, you're gonna want to have them so they can just miss all the time. That's what stormtroopers do, right? Have some really detailed droids as well. I don't remember the names of these droids right off the top of my head, but I do remember them floating around Hoth during that battle. Really cool looking stuff. There are 3 of those droids. We've got an awesome looking lizard guy. Let's see if I can get even a little closer here so you can get some of the detail of his face. That's about as close as I'm going to be able to get. But you see there's just a ton of detail in these things, man. These figures are absolutely just really impressive. We got 3 of those guys, sorry, 4 of those guys. We got a couple admirals here. Typical Empire officer guy. We got 3 Empire officers and crazy looking lizard beast, sand beast, something like that. Look at that head. My goodness, it's got like a head of an arrow or something. And I don't know how many eyes he's got on there either. It looks like 4 eyes. Big Cheshire cat grin. Look at that thing. Ah, goodness. Just really cool looking. And then finally we've got, sorry, there's two of those larger animal creatures, and then we've got an Empire gunner here with a giant rail gun or machine gun or belt-fed minigun or something like that. I'm sure he's going to be putting a lot of damage onto people. That's it for the models. Oh, I almost forgot. Darth Vader himself. In every video I've seen on this game, Darth Vader's saber's been bent, and mine is no exception. Man, I really enjoy the fact that these are so easy to produce, but man, I wish they would be a little bit more durable and not bend as easy. Any of you mini guys that are out there that know a good way to get that bend out without ruining this thing, let me know. That'd be awesome to hear. Let me give you some just closer ups of the heroes once again, so you can see them a little bit better. Here's our Wookiee. Our Twi'lek. Luke. Our not elf sniper. Just like, oh man, I love the detail on this guy. He looks really cool, and he's got a pretty sick ponytail. Lady Han. Our grizzled veteran. This is another one that's just so much detail in these guys, man. It's really impressive. And finally, our commander. This another one looks really cool. So those are the figures. Really cool stuff, I think. Let's take a look at some of the tiles, and that'll probably be it for this unboxing. You know what? We can pop open some cards really quick. Here we go. So some of these cards are going to be, let me get a little bit of focus here. So some of these cards are going to be used for the Empire. Some of these cards are going to be events that are going to happen. When the Empire is going to activate, they're going to have one activation card here, and then that activation is going to activate each of the creatures of this type. So these are stormtroopers, and when this card activates, all the stormtroopers controlled by this card are going to activate. Some more stormtrooper cards, Imperial officers, Royal Guards, probe droids is what I was missing earlier, E-Web engineer, and there are a couple different things here. So here are two 6'2" stormtroopers. They both have squad training, they have the same accuracy, so this is essentially the same card. And then we have a red version as well, who have a little bit more health, more speed, same defense, same attack. They have a couple more abilities, so this must be an elite type mode. That's cool. Same thing with all these guys have an elite or a red mode. The E-Web engineers are those crazy gunners I was mentioning before. The ATST is there, of course Vader's there, General Weiss is there, and General Weiss is actually going to have his own miniature come out where you can actually pop off the top of that thing and then sit him in there, which is going to be really cool to see. And then some other cards. The Nexu are those Cheshire cat creatures. The Trandoshan hunters, those are the lizard guys I was talking about. And IG-88, he's going to be coming later. There's got to be a ton of Mandalorians coming, you would think. A ton of cards here. I'm really impressed. There's Jyn Odin, Diala Paso. So here's actually some cards that are the heroes as well. So this must be for the skirmish mode even. There's Luke's card, Han's card, Chewie's card. Yeah, so this must be for the skirmish mode, or references for the campaign. Here reference conditions, reference cards. Looks like we have some objective cards here. Get to the ship, smuggled goods, brush fire. These must be the actual missions here. I'm not going to get too much into those. Seems to be a ton of different missions though. Yeah, those are story missions and objectives. That's an interesting deck. I'm not going to get into all of these mini cards. There's just too many of them right now, and I don't want to keep you guys forever. These looks like pretty standard Star Wars dice mixed in with the Descent universe. And here are some more cards there. So let's take a look at the terrain tiles, and that's going to be it for this. Okay, so what's really cool about these terrain tiles is that they're modular. So depending on the scenario, you're going to be able to use these. And Descent uses these a lot as well. Looks like we got some outdoor grassland or forest type stuff. And then on the opposite side, desert type things. There's a ship bay there. Some of these lines are actually going to mean certain things. Like blue is obstructed, I think. Red, you can't cross. Black are just walls you can't see through. That kind of thing. Looks like we have the inside of some sort of spaceship or starship here. Of course, tokens littered all throughout these pages. Another interesting internal building here. This looks like a trash pit. I hate to get stuck down in here and have this thing compact on us. More external and internal tiles. There's a general rice token. More desert stuff. There's a lot of little tokens here for some of these rebel guys, which is interesting to see. So I wonder if those are going to function kind of like NPCs here, since we don't have the actual models for them. More external stuff. There's a lot of pieces here, which is nice. So this is a piece, this is a piece, which really is kind of cool, especially when you get into thinking about the skirmish mode. There's a lot of really cool battlements that we can make just by using these tiles here, and there's a ton of tiles. Oh, look at this one especially. These are all singular pieces right here, so there's just a ton of variety that potentially we're going to have whenever it comes to this thing. And then we've got another ton of tokens. This right here is the way that the Empire player is going to measure how much threat they have, and I believe they're going to track rounds on this as well. And then of course just a ton of other play tokens. So I'm going to pop these out, and then I'm going to give you guys my final thoughts on just what I think first, and then again, very, very rough first impressions of opening up this box, looking at the models and all that. Spoiler alert, I'm kind of in awe, and I'm really stoked and kind of geeking out over this whole thing. I think this is a really cool thing, so we'll be right back. Alright, so Imperial Assault unboxing, first thoughts. Huge is what my first thought is. This is just a great game, or rather a great game. This is such a great boxing. Everything is really nicely tight and compact. I'm actually kind of dreading having to fit everything back in this thing, because something tells me once I get everything out, it's going to be tough to try to organize this thing and make sure everything's good. So I'm really looking forward to playing this. This came up, I believe they announced it at Gen Con. It had a lot of buzz there. Of course, anything that Fantasy Flight does for the main part, especially when they track it, rather they put an IP on there like Star Wars, it's going to be, I think it's going to be really big. This game itself is going to play 2 to 5 players. You're going to have 2 different modes to be able to play. There is the skirmish mode, which is a traditional miniatures game, and you saw the models in this video. Oh my goodness, there's so much detail in there, and it actually really kind of makes me want to paint them, which is strange because I'm not generally one of the guys to do that. I think I painted one of my Mansions of Madness figures and just kind of gave up, so I may need to look back into that, because this game looks just really cool, and to have those models really looking nice, I think is going to add a lot of value to the experience. If you're not playing the skirmish mode, there's a campaign mode where essentially all the players besides one will play as the heroes, and then the one other player will play as the Empire and have to go through there and either complete certain objectives or stop the rebels from completing objectives, and they'll control all of the bad guys, so to speak. So it's going to play very similarly to Descent and to Mansions of Madness, of course with the theme from the galaxy far, far away. This is just really cool. My first impressions are wow. I'm geeking out. I'm really excited about it, and I can't wait to actually get it on the table and play it more. So when that happens, we will have an official review for you guys. But until then, I hope you guys enjoy the content that we're putting on the channel. This is our first video back from our kind of Christmas break, and our first video in 2015. So really looking forward to this. If you guys have any questions about this game, hit me up on Twitter at Let's Level Up. All of our information as far as social media stuff is available at letslevelup.net, and we are just be so happy to talk to you guys. So follow us, talk to us, give us a thumbs up if you like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, but most importantly, game on.